A quiet evening in Midrand, just after 9 p.m., emergency services received a call about a vehicle on fire. At first, it looked like another vehicle fire, something firefighters and police deal with every day. But when flames were finally extinguished, investigators made a horrifying discovery: human remains inside the driver's compartment of a luxury Mercedes-Benz. The victim was later identified as a 26-year-old Mahlako Rabalao, an IT specialist, a mother to a 3-year-old boy, a daughter, a sister, and a woman whose life had just barely begun. The questions came quickly. Who was she? What happened inside that vehicle? And perhaps most importantly, who wanted her dead? The answers will lead investigators through months of forensic analysis, cell phone records, expert testimony, and a murder trial that ended with one of South Africa's harshest sentences: life imprisonment. This is the story of Mahlako Rabalao. Before she became a subject of newspaper headlines, Mahlako Rabalao was simply known as Mahlako, an ambitious young IT professional, a devoted mother, someone with dreams that extends far beyond the office. Friends described her as intelligent, hardworking, and determined to build a stable future for herself and her young son. She was approaching her 27th birthday. According to evidence later heard in court, she had also reached an important decision. She allegedly intended ending her relationship with her boyfriend and baby daddy and moving out of the apartment they shared together. No one knew that decision would become one of the final chapters of her life. On the evening of 7th of March 2023, police responded to reports of a burning Mercedes-Benz in Midrand. By the time officers arrived, their vehicle engulfed in flames. Firefighters extinguished the blaze. Inside, they discovered human remains. Forensic investigators later confirmed the victim was Mahlako Rabalao. The discovery immediately raised alarms. Experienced investigators believed this was not simply a vehicle fire. The Provincial Investigation Unit assumed responsibility for the case, treating it as priority investigation. Every piece of evidence would matter. The burnt vehicle, the fire curtains, the forensic samples, the victim's last known moments, and eventually the digital trail left behind by mobile phones. The investigation had only just begun. Detectives spent months reconstructing Mahlako's final hours. According to police, the investigation led them to focus on her boyfriend, Thubelihle Mpisi, a Johannesburg attorney. After approximately 4 months of investigation, a warrant for his arrest was issued. On the 28th of July 2023, police arrested Mpisi in KwaZulu-Natal. He was charged with murder. Following his arrest, he appeared before the magistrate court. The prosecution indicated it would oppose bail. The case was postponed several times while investigators completed outstanding forensic work, including DNA analysis, and the defense changed legal representation after the original attorney withdrew, citing conflict of interest. As the legal process unfolded, investigators continued assembling the evidence that would later be tested in court. Unlike many murder trials that depended on a single eyewitness, this case relied heavily on forensic science and circumstantial evidence. The state presented expert testimony from fire extinguishers, forensic specialists, and communications analysts. Medical experts were unable to identify the precise cause of Mahlako's death because the fire had caused extensive damage to her body. But that did not end the investigation. According to evidence presented in court, the evidence demonstrated beyond a reasonable doubt that Mahlako had already died before the fire began. The court accepted that conclusion. The investigators ruled out accidental causes, including electrical malfunction, mechanical failures, smoking materials, and natural ignition. Instead, they concluded that the fire originated in the passenger compartment and had been deliberately started by using an open flame. Investigators also detected petrol on the carpet inside the Mercedes-Benz. Despite the vehicle operating on diesel fuel, the prosecution supported the conclusion that an accelerant had been used in an attempt to destroy evidence. The court also considered cell phone towers. According to the judgment, those records contradicted Mpisi's account that he had remained at home after Mahlako left to collect an Uber Eats order. The judge found his explanation was inconsistent with the objective evidence presented during the trial. When all the evidence was considered together, the court concluded that the state had proved its case beyond reasonable doubt. The South African attorney was convicted on 3 separate criminal charges stemming from the March 2023 murder of his intimate partner and mother of his child, a 26-year-old IT specialist, Mahlako Rabalao. The court handed down the following sentences to run concurrently: murder, life imprisonment; malicious injury to property, 5 years imprisonment; defeating the administration of justice, 5 years imprisonment. According to Mpisi, the deceased had left their home on her own accord at approximately 7:35 p.m. to collect an Uber Eats order, and that he remained in the property throughout the relevant period. He continued with his life after the incident. He took his son to school for at least 2 days before he mentioned that Rabalao was not reachable or available. And when Rabalo's employer tried to reach her, because she hasn't been to work for the past few days, that's when he mentioned that he has not seen. And that's when he also informed her family that she was missing. He also then helped the family look for her. And the family did not suspect him until after the funeral. He was included and recognized on her funeral. And a few days later, Mpisi made a tribute video on social media for her, depicting a happy family. He wrote, "Rest in peace, my love. The pain I'm in is so deep. I don't know where to begin to start picking up the pieces. How do I raise the child without you? I thank God for giving me the time we've shared together. Nothing can ever take that away." And all this time, he was a grieving boyfriend. Every criminal trial eventually reaches its conclusion. The evidence is present, witnesses testify, experts explain the findings. The court weigh every fact against the law. In this case, the South African High Court found that the evidence proved beyond reasonable doubt that Thubelihle Mpisi murdered Mahlako Rabalao before setting fire on her vehicle in an attempt to conceal the crime. For that, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. For the criminal justice system, that marked the end of a trial. But for Mahlako's family, there is no finish line. No judgment can replace a daughter. No sentence can return a mother to her little boy. And no courtroom can restore the future that was taken from a young woman who was preparing to begin a new chapter in her life instead. There was no public witness who described exactly what happened in Mahlako's final moments. Medical experts could not determine the precise cause of her death because of the extensive fire damage. Yet investigators continued searching for answers. The fire investigators constructed the scene. Forensic specialists examined every piece of physical evidence. Digital analysts traced cell phone movements. When those pieces were brought together before the court, they formed the picture that ultimately led to a conviction. Justice is not just built on assumption. It is built on evidence, on careful investigation, and on allowing the court to decide what had been proven beyond reasonable doubt. As South Africa continues to fight the devastating impact of violence against women, cases like Mahlako serves as a painful reminder that every statistic represents a real person, a daughter, a mother, a colleague, a friend, someone whose life mattered. Mahlako Rabalao was more than a court case. She was more than a headline, more than a viral story. She was a young woman with dreams, a career, a family who loved her deeply. And today, her story stands as both a record of what the court found and a reminder of a human cost of violent crime. May she be remembered not only for how life ended, but for the life she lived. Thank you for watching True Crime Unlocked. Please do subscribe to the channel for more true crime stories.